views chart in the backdrop, and I have the TD Ameritrade open over top of it, scrunched down, so that way I can operate with the trading view. And I'm going to highlight in trading view a fair value gap after a market structure shift that's bullish, and I'm going to show you an imbalance that is in a premium. Okay, see that? Just the opposite of what I've been showing you. Change the color on this. And the idea is I'm going to see it drop down into that green area. But if you look real close, there's actually a smaller little fair value gap just below that green box. Okay, this is not supply and demand. Okay, the idea is I want to see it drop down to that green box, and I don't know if it's going to dip into the lower fair value gap. So whenever there's two fair value gaps like this is for your notes in case you missed this. The idea is I'm going to let it trade down to that lower one. I'll sacrifice that better entry. And if it trades down there and trades into it and then comes right back up into that green box, the first higher fair value gap, I'll enter when it's in there and expect that the lower one won't be retraded to. Okay. I'm going to be trading with a stop that will have essentially 3.25% risk. I'm not suggesting that's a size of risk for you. I'm just telling you that's what I have in mind when I'm taking this trade. And this is, again, just my personal belief in this. I'm not suggesting that you should believe me or subscribe to this view because I'm showing you a live account. This does not mean that every trade you take forward from this day on is going to be like this. It doesn't mean it guarantees profit. It doesn't. But my belief and my faith is that I've seen this work so many times over the last 30 years that I know that this is something that's going to work enough for me. And that's all that matters. It's a personal endeavor when you're speculating. If you don't have any faith in it, then obviously you would never put live money in it. All right, so the market's starting to drop down a little bit in here. And let's say, for instance, that it runs up into that upper rectangle first before going down to the green one. Then I would nix the trade, and that means I wouldn't take a trade, and I would move to the sidelines and probably do nothing the rest of the morning or watch and see if there's something else that sets up. All right, so now I'm inside that rectangle, but notice again, I want to see if it goes down to that lower fair value gap that's not highlighted. I'll mention it when we get into it. That right there, I'm willing to sacrifice that because that's actually the better buy. But if we go back up into the higher fair value gap and create like a tail on this particular candle, I'll see that as just running for a lower imbalance, and then it should accumulate in here. And I have my trigger on the buy button. Okay, I'm just going to go in with a buy at market. I'm not trying to do anything advanced here. Okay, and if you look at the bottom of the TD Ameritrade live account module, you'll see the NASDAQ symbol, and you'll actually see my profit and loss going as the trade is entered. And I took a trade in the E-mini S&P, and it was basically a scratch. I ended up making $75. So I put a trade on and came back on me, stopped me, and that was the end of that. All right, there I am putting the order in. And there's the confirmation that the orders were received. So now I'm long. You can see at the bottom of the pop out, it shows that I'm down initially what looks like $20, and now I'm up $20 right now. So now down 75. So this is the part of trading where it feels scary. If you've never traded with live funds and you just feel like you got to watch that number of how much money you're making and losing, that's the worst thing to do. Okay. What I'm watching is the chart. Does the chart continuously keep giving me feedback visually that it's accumulating and not going lower? Now, it can go one more time back into that lower fair value gap. That's permissible to me. I'm willing to endure that. I just don't want to see it overlap that entire thing and go lower, because then I'd have to close the trade and preferably save my stop. Notice the bodies of the candles are staying relatively inside that fair value gap, that shaded green. Now, I'm only adding this to the chart because I knew I was going to record it and share it with you today. But I do not have this in my charts. Okay, the only annotations I have in my charts is when I'm teaching my students. And since you're here, at least for right now, I'm calling you my student. Even the haters. All right. So with the aid of hindsight, because I lived this moment this morning, it does go down one more time and stab into those wicks that are forming. Now, when you put a trade on, you kind of like give the complete control of everything to the marketplace. And you want to just allow the market to do what it's going to do and not try to overthink every fluctuation. Every little minor movement in the price action is not something that is going to hopefully sway you. So I've already had it in my mind that it could go back down and make a slightly lower low than those two little wicks that it's formed inside the lower fair value gap. So since I had that expectation that it could potentially do that, I'm desensitizing myself to that in the event that it forms. An ideal scenario would be it doesn't do it at all, obviously, but I'm allowing for that price action, especially with the volatility that we've been seeing the last few days. And what I'm thinking right now is they're taking it down one more time to accumulate more longs. Notice I'm saying that, not it's selling pressure driving price down. I think this is where I took the most heat on the trade, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like $455 of trade drawdown while being still in the trade, which is below the threshold I've already said. My maximum risk on a trade, if I'm trading competitively, is 4.5% per trade. Generally, I like to take a trade that I feel comfortable with around 3.5%. That's a good trade for me. Okay, showing signs initially that it's wanting to go higher. And what I'm trying to do is keep my focus on that lower level, or the bottom of that pink rectangle. That's the low-hanging fruit. That's the easy target I'm telling you to try to practice and learn to reach for. The ideal scenario would be to go all the way to the top of that pink. But while you're learning, don't do that, okay? It's easier just to let it trade to the low end and just take it off when it gives it to you. I have my trigger on the flatten button, so it cancels every order, takes me completely out of the marketplace. As soon as it touches the low end of that rectangle, I'll collapse the trade. And right now I'm up almost $900, $895, $935, $925. And again, you can watch that fluctuation in the lower right-hand corner of the pop out. I'm at 1100 plus, 1149. Okay, traded there, touched it. Now I'm collapsing the trade there, just like that. And that's it. Now my account's booked and marked to market with $1,190 in gain. And the balance now reflects it with $27,915.11. So there's TradingView, showing the chart I'm watching, because I like TradingView's charts. I don't like TD Ameritrade's charts. I don't like them. So I'm just using the pop out, which is, why are you showing this thing scrunched up? I'm not hiding anything. You can see it. It's right there. So let's go over and take a look at the chart now. You can see nothing has changed. I just magnified that pop out, so it's entirely taking up my entire screen. We're going to go to the NASDAQ E-mini contract symbol. And I am so clumsy with this platform still. But I'm sure I'll get real good at it by the middle of the year. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. All right, so we're going to look at this day. And there's the chart on 1 minute. And I'm going to add an overlay, okay? But I'm going to put in so you can see where the trades are in that chart. There's the executions, bada bing, bada boom. And there is these areas I showed you on the TradingView chart. So for the inquiring minds that wanted to see a live chart and live account and all that business and the logic of what I'm teaching in the YouTube channel, I humbly submit this. Until I talk to you on Thursday, be safe.